Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be on the planet of ours. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here to our show tonight. As we've been doing for quite some time, we're going to start off this evening with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it. America's finest right there.
America's finest. They're absolutely right. These are America's finest that we could possibly put in front of us to protect our country and to represent us throughout the world. The United States Army Barbershop Quartet, and at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015, the Barbershop Quartet Convention hosts gave us a Pledge of Allegiance, and we appreciate that, and we thank them all for their service. We also want to thank all of our own military, wherever they might be around the world, and also our allied force military, wherever they might be. God bless you all. May you all return home to your families in safety when your tours of duty end, and thank you all for your service. God bless you all. Thank you so much, guys and gals. We appreciate it. I want to thank all of you who are also here on our Emergency Management Associates Network tonight. We've been here for several months now. We have nearly 1,100 subscriptions, and I want to thank you all for that. That means a great deal. Even though YouTube keeps unsubscribing people, that means all of you keep laboring to make sure your subscriptions are up to date and are here. We appreciate that. Or if you are subscribed, make sure you also click on that little circle with the bell in the middle of it, the bell icon. When you click on the bell icon, also click on that word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air. Not always, because YouTube also does not notify everybody when we come on the air, which is rather unfortunate. They have the ability to do it, they just don't. They keep unsubscribing people as well, and we appreciate all of you who labor to try to keep your subscriptions up. My buddy Don Patoka, who is one of our mods here, has to keep checking his subscription once or twice a week. It's incredible how often they unsubscribe people. So please, folks, make sure you keep checking your subscriptions and making sure you are subscribed. We appreciate all the work that you also do to help our channel and to help me. We appreciate all the emails and messages we get from you on a daily basis. We appreciate that. It means a great deal to me. I get that information that you guys send me, and if it's information regarding an event that's happened or something that we need to recognize on our show, we vet it and then we put it on the air. And we appreciate all your help that you make to make sure that we have the latest information to give everybody around the world. We appreciate that. We have 1,095 subscribers here. God bless you all for that. I also want to thank everybody who's made that possible. We also want to bring to your attention, we now have the Super Chat and Super Sticker up here on our program. YouTube just approved it today. I want to thank you all for making that also available. Without you, we can't do it. Okay? That means a great deal. We appreciate that. It's unreal. It really is. As we go forward, we're going to continue to work to the end of making sure that nothing happens to this channel. I did that with the other channel, and I survived for 4 years before I was taken down by a hacker. And I also want to tell you, believe it or not, when I was on my phone last week, one day last week, I was out shopping, picking up a few things that I needed. And all of a sudden something came to my eyes that one of our programs on our previous YouTube channel was there. And I quickly went to it, and sure enough, I listened to that entire program. It is on the air. If you ever go searching for our other channel and get notified or find other programs on our other channel, they are available. You just have to look for them, I guess. Because that's what I had to do. I just want to let you know about that too. It's incredible what YouTube does to hide information. It's unreal. Hurricane Heather, it appears, gave us our first $5 super chat. God bless you, Heather. Thank you so much for everything you do to help support our channel. Heather has been a moderator on this channel for quite some time. I appreciate all of her efforts. She's also our resident weather person, our weather lady. We appreciate all the hard work that she goes through to give people information. We have a weather channel thread on our messenger group. Heather does a great job putting out information about tornadoes and cyclones and hurricanes and wind warnings and everything else. She does an awesome job there. We appreciate everything she does. Her weather thread is an awesome thread. She gives us information from Ryan, who puts out a weather channel of his own here on YouTube. Ryan Hall, y'all, is a wonderful weatherman. He is an utmost meteorologist. I've got to give him that credit. He puts out information all the time regarding weather throughout the United States and out into the Caribbean. He's awesome. Ryan Hall, y'all, he's great. Someone else that I want to give some credit to, it's Reed Timmer. Reed Timmer is an awesome meteorologist. He is a storm chaser. I saw a clip earlier this afternoon of him chasing a tornado. And he has the Terminator weather vehicle. It's exactly that. It looks like a stealth ship. Really, a stealth ship on wheels. The stealthiness of the vehicle goes all the way down to the ground level. During a tornado season, they can go up to and intercept a tornado and lock their vehicle down to the ground. And the tornado can pass over and the vehicle goes through the tornado, and they can ascertain all kinds of data from that tornado windstorm. It's incredible. I was amazed that that steel vehicle did not move. They can actually anchor it to the ground where it will not go anywhere. It was an awesome experience to see that. I've never before seen that even in my wildest imagination. It was great to see that. So I want to thank Reed Trimmer. I want to thank Ryan Hall, y'all, and Heather, and all of you who keep making it possible for us to be here on the air. We definitely appreciate it, and thank you so much. Now, we have a lot to talk about tonight, okay? I want to go over and bring up, excuse me. Every once in a while, my sinuses run right down my throat and cause all sorts of hate and discontent, and I deal with it. But sometimes I'm going, okay, it's done. It's done. I'm tired. I'm sure all of you have been there too. And I get that stuff in my throat, and I can't breathe, it seems, and all this kind of nonsense. It's entirely crazy. But I want to thank all of you for everything you do. I'm hopefully going to see my doctor on the 24th to get an update on my cancer and get more information on where I'm at and what I'm going to be doing and going through from now forever. So that's what I'm doing now. Quite a few you've asked, and so I just wanted to tell you what I'm doing and tell you that I appreciate all that you are doing to help me. It makes a great deal of difference to me to know that you are in my ballpark. You are my greatest, what shall I say, my greatest cheerleaders, my greatest help. I talk to most of you here and there, but it's great to hear from you. One of my friends over in New Mexico said, "Hey Ron, I love you." I appreciate that. A lot of you do say that, and I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. It really does. Things happen. Things are always happening. As I move around and move forward, I keep finding information, and it literally blows my mind sometimes. It does. I find information, and I'm going, okay, how did this happen? What happened? Where did it happen? When did it happen? And believe it or not, all of a sudden, it's uncanny. All of a sudden, you guys have that information. It just is incredible. I can't tell you enough how much that means to me. That you guys have gone forward and found information that I otherwise would not have. It's amazing. It really is. Texas lady, you're one of those people. Heather, you're another. Aubrey, you're another. Demon Cat sends me emails. I appreciate that. Richard sends me information. A lot of you do, and I appreciate it. Wolfman sends me information. It means a lot. It helps us show. It helps us move forward. It helps us grow. It helps us get information to try to save people's lives. Now, right now, I'm having a hard time getting into my database. I have no clue how this happened. But now, jeez. Oh, this is weird. Oh, that's wild. Oh, I found it. I got it. I just thought of something and how to do this to make it happen. And I found it and I've got it. That's a great thing. The other day something happened to my computer. JB Map just gave us another $17.77. JB, thanks for that. He says, Ron, thanks to you and your great team of mods for providing us with valuable information on a daily basis. JB, you are also one of those that help us so very much. It means a great deal to me. Now, I want to show you something. Right here. I want to show you something. We first talked about this on Friday. I believe it was Friday. Folks, this is Lake Almanor in Northern California. At first, when these earthquakes started happening, there were 7 of them. 7 of them. The first one came out as a 5.7. They downgraded to 5.5, further downgraded to 5.4, and then brought it back up to a 5.5. We did the research and we showed you the research on our channel. This was more than a 5.5 earthquake. It was a 6.0. USGS tried to hide the information from us. I found it and I put it out. This was indeed a very dangerous earthquake. There was damage to the community and the surrounding area. Some people's homes were destroyed as a result of the shaking. People's homes were thrown off their foundations. Goods that people had in their homes were thrown out of shelves. Shelving was damaged. People's furniture was damaged. Roadways and concrete driveways were damaged. I have pictures that I'm going to show you in the next day or so of major damage that happened. Some of it more moderate, but there was a lot of damage as a result of those earthquakes. As you can see here, this map I took off of USGS mapping. Not the USGS map that everybody sees that I've shown you on a regular basis. This is USGS mapping. I picked up this site long time ago, many years ago. It is the USGS. I picked it up from going over to the USGS Lassen Volcanic area. And they have a regular map, and you can literally go all over the world with this map, picking up information if the USGS is allowing it. And this shows Lake Almanor. The orange dots there are present day earthquakes that have hit today. Now we have over 3 dozen earthquakes, over 72 earthquakes and counting. And there was a 5.1 earthquake today. I want you to know that. Another large 5.1 magnitude earthquake hit earlier today. A bunch of 4s have hit. 2.3s have hit all over this area. Now, down on the far south side of Lake Almanor. This is where the Canyon Dam is. You see the earthquakes here at the bottom of south end of Lake Almanor. This is a strategic area. Why am I calling it strategic? Because, folks, so far there's been little or no damage at the Canyon Lake Dam. However, this could change as we get more and more earthquakes to hit this area, especially if we have any more 5.0s and larger earthquakes hitting this area. It could damage the dam and cause problems. Now, what kind of problems would we have if this dam let go? Folks, this dam here, Lake Almanor, drains into Oroville Dam. Oroville Dam. We've talked about this before. Oroville Dam had problems. Remember that? They had to rebuild the dam because it almost gave way, dumping large amounts of water on the Oroville, California community. They rescued the community. The sheriff even went to bat to make sure that the Oroville Dam held, and that the city and county were doing their darndest to make sure that they would repair it. The sheriff held them to that, because up until that time, they were dilly-dallying around and playing games. The sheriff climbed all over them, and he, I believe, was the key resource that was needed to make sure that dam got repaired, and repaired it did. But, folks, that dam still has a few problems in that it's an earthen dam. Enough water could cause more problems. Everybody is aware of that. But so far, that dam holds as much as this dam holds. We're watching this as everybody else should be watching it. This is critical. With over 36 earthquakes that have already hit and more coming, this can be catastrophic. So we're watching this. The other issue with this, there is a volcano in the nearby vicinity to the northwest, Lassen Volcano. This is critical. This is probably more critical than anyone wants to admit to. Okay? When I first started analyzing what happened with the earthquakes here in the Almanor Lake area, I did not even realize how critical it was with what is going on. I had no clue how critical it was. And now I have evidence that more and more earthquakes that are hitting here do not just come from the earthquake faults. There may be magma down here below this lake. There may be magma that's affecting what is going on here. And more infrastructure needs to be put out there to make sure that we get that information. The more and more information we have, the better off we all are going to be. Now, with that said, there's a lot more to this story than even that. I've done a lot of research today. I spent a great deal of time today pulling information. Some of the information that I have is not good. I'm going to be honest with you. I tried to pull current information about Mount Lassen. What happened? I found out that USGS is not updating the information, meaning the earthquakes and such that are hitting Mount Lassen. They're not updating the seismograms at all. The last seismogram that's available for Mount Lassen or Mount Shasta was the 11th of this month, 5 days ago. They have not updated any information about Mount Lassen and Mount Shasta from 5 days ago. Usually they update it on a day-to-day basis, and they have not done so. None of the information is current. And there are a great deal of seismographs all over both of those mountains. And I would say probably close to 8 or 9 out of the 11 or 12 seismographs are off. Completely turned off. Some of the other seismograms that are out there that are not updated have bad data, meaning the USGS put out false information. They copied some seismogram from someplace and put it up in place of the data that should have been there. They put out false information. So Mount Lassen and Mount Shasta do not have current data, which is sad. If you want to put out information, you want to find current information to try to save your family's lives. You feel shaking. You want to know where it came from or why it happened. If you went to Mount Lassen or Mount Shasta seismograms, you're not going to find it. It does not exist. It's sad that this agency of the United States government refuses to cooperate with its citizens. The U.S. citizens pay our taxes. We all pay taxes. We pay their salaries to give us information. We pay the USGS to have the machines out there. I'm sorry, don't mean to cough in your ear. We pay to get this data, and they refuse to put it out. We can't get it. Victor says, I live by Mount Shasta. Victor, you probably feel earthquakes around where you live as a result of Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is a volcano, and there is magma coming into that volcano. Every volcano here in the United States has magma coming into it. All of the volcanoes are recharging. All of the volcanoes are recharging. I've seen it. For them not to give us the information we are looking for is criminal. It really is. Why am I saying that? Because, folks, when I was a federal police officer, and yes, I don't believe this just applies to cops. If you falsify a report, that's criminal. Falsifying a police report is criminal. You falsify earthquake data, I believe that is criminal. For the same reasons falsifying a police report is criminal. Falsifying a police report can put someone's life in danger. The same is true for a seismogram. Either falsifying the data or not giving us the data that you can give us, we know for a fact that those machines exist. There's 10 to 15 of those machines around Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen. Okay, there's 10 to 15 machines all around those mountains, each of them. And for the agency not to put out current data is basically falsifying the information, withholding the information. Withholding is omission, omitting the data. Omitting is just the same as lying about it. Falsifying information. Withholding is falsifying data. So that makes it a crime. So I'm accusing the United States Geological Survey of a crime. withholding information. If I withheld information from the United States Senate hearing, they'd lock me up. They'd lock me up and throw away the key. There's no difference here. There's no difference at all. That's why I get angry. Because we pay for it. All of us here in the United States pay for it. Our allies around the world depend on us doing our job. Plain and simple. Every country in the world depends on the United States Geological Survey. And for that matter, they depend on me. That's why I continue to come on as often as I can to update information. Because you all have come to depend on me giving you information, which I do. As long as they're not putting it out, that means they're omitting it. That's a crime. Plain and simple. It's a crime. Okay. I'm off of my soapbox. Yes, it angers me. It angers me to no end. Okay? Plain and simple. I want to show you a few seismograms. I'm going to start tonight at Mount Rainier because the other volcanoes, I believe they alter the information. They don't give us all the information that they could. Folks, this seismogram is Camp Muir. Mount Rainier, Camp Muir. Camp Muir is on the south rim of Mount Rainier. Up at the top, you see another earthquake here. Look at that. How does an earthquake happen and have the tops and the bottoms of the earthquake signature gone, chopped off? How is that even possible? Okay? This earthquake happened at 1 a.m. this morning. 1 a.m. this morning. Actually, not even that. About 1:08 a.m. this morning. The top and the bottom of this thing have been cut off. Okay? Right now, this appears to be at least a 2.3, 2.4 magnitude earthquake. Because it's cut off, we can't see the bottom or the top of it. This could as well be a 3.5 or a 4.0. We don't know. Again, they're lying to us. They're giving us only partial information. Okay? This is a good sized quake. But we don't know how strong it is because they have withheld information. Right on the left side of that. Okay? This earthquake happened right before this. This was a 2.1 magnitude earthquake. If you see a vertical line here with a dot in it, it's either a tremor, or if it's a longer vertical line, it's an earthquake. If you see a vertical line here that does not have a dot in it, those lines are steam releases from the volcano. Steam releases from the volcano, and yes, there are many of them here. But you can see tremors and earthquakes all over this seismogram. All day long today. Look at this. This is one of the most active seismograms that we have seen at Mount Rainier. And I can show you many others of similar quality. Okay? Down here on the bottom left, on the dark blue line there. This earthquake happened later this evening. Look at that. Another 2.0 earthquake. Fancy that. Fancy that. Yes, we have minor earthquakes that hit here. I'm not going to say we don't. We do. But when we have a seismogram that's been messed with, knowingly messed with, that's an entirely different story completely. We know for a fact that Mount Rainier is getting to the point of getting ready to erupt. All the earthquakes and tremors are here. It shows it. A little over a year or so ago, maybe close to 2 years, Stephen Braden just gave us another $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Stephen. God bless you for that. About 2 years ago, Mount Hood was getting hit all over the place. Over 100 tremors and earthquakes had hit Mount Hood on the southern side of Mount Hood, what they call the southern flank of Mount Hood. It was on a Sunday, and USGS issued a yellow advisory, a yellow cautionary advisory for a possible eruption at Mount Hood. Look what we have here. We have strong earthquakes here. By strong, I'm saying 2.0 and larger earthquakes here. And how many tremors do we have to have USGS issue a possible eruption advisory at Mount Rainier? There's a lot of tremors here. There's a bunch of earthquakes here as well. So Mount Rainier is getting ready to go. It's not just because Mount Rainier is steaming. Yes, it is steaming. It is releasing steam from the summit of the volcano. I've explained how that has happened even during the past few days. 6 to 7% of all magma inside a volcano is water. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. When that water heats up to 2,500 degrees, and that's the temperature of magma, guys, anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, that is. And when that water in the magma heats up, it turns to steam. And when that magma is pounding literally up from underneath against that huge lava rock. Every volcano has a lava rock plug. Just like full wine bottles have a cork in the wine bottle. The cork in a volcano is a lava plug that is left over from the last time that the volcano erupted. And as that magma comes up from beneath and hits that plug, it is causing that rock to fracture. That rock is fracturing, opening up fissures, holes in the rock. As the magma heats up from underneath, it heats that plug up. Heating that plug also causes that plug to expand, further enlarging those holes. And as steam goes through those fissures or holes in that plug, it also helps to enlarge those holes. And more steam come out of that plug. This is what's happening at all of the volcanoes we've talked about. All of them. Every one of the volcanoes throughout the entire range of mountains from southern Vancouver, Canada, and British Columbia, Canada, all the way south to Shasta and Lassen. They're all part of the same volcanic range, the Cascade Volcanic Range. All of them are steaming. Every one of the volcanoes we're going to talk about this evening is steaming. Okay? This is Mount Rainier. While we're here at Mount Rainier, I want to show you something else. Okay? We attempt to show you seismograms from Mount Rainier Emerald Ridge. Emerald Ridge is a point on the southwest side of Mount Rainier. There is a seismograph there. The seismogram there is non-existent. Why? Because USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network refuse to show us the seismogram. They're refusing to show us a seismogram from Emerald Ridge. However, we do have something else. This, folks, is a spectrogram. This is a spectrogram from Emerald Ridge. There are several other machines around Mount Rainier and other volcanoes that allow us to see the temperature that's in the magma here and what it's doing. The bottom of this spectrogram, you can see the temperatures. Heat rises here, and you can see vertical lines here going upwards. That is heat going towards the surface of the volcano. That is what is happening here at Mount Rainier. If you see these lines that are more greenish blue in color, and they rise to the top of this seismogram, and you can see that it's happening, the surface of this volcano is heating up. We have shown you this in the past, not just here at Emerald Ridge. We've shown you many, well, I can't say many, we've shown you a couple of other spectrograms at Mount Rainier and other volcanoes. This, folks, is real. It's real. Why is this important? Why do we need to know this? Because, folks, about 3 years ago, when we were talking about Mount Rainier, we showed you all a video back then of snow and ice literally cascading down the side of Mount Rainier. We show you a video of snow and ice falling literally from the top of Mount Rainier all the way down. It caused a lahar. The heat inside the volcano had built up so high that that snow and ice at the top side of that volcano came down. It melted its hold on the surface and fell to the bottom of the volcano, causing a lahar. Rock and dirt, trees and weeds, tree limbs, trunks came down the volcano, fell through the streams and the rivers around Mount Rainier, causing a lahar. At first, USGS denied it happened. We showed you the video. Later, they came forward and said, yes, there had been a lahar. But first, before that, they said, oh, there was an avalanche. No, it was not an avalanche. Then they said it was a landslide. Then they had to admit that that snow and ice that fell caused a lahar. Before Mr. T left the presidency, they put up lahar sirens all around Mount Rainier. Mr. T went out and inspected the site and heard the sirens when they turned them on to test them. Now the next time we have a lahar at Mount Rainier, the lahar sirens will go off. They actually work. But folks, this is a visualization that there is magma down there that's heated up, and the heat is going up towards the surface of the volcano. this is proof positive of this happening. Now, folks, we're not going to stop there. I want to take you now over to Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens is also very busy. Very busy. Look at this. This is a USGS seismogram of Mount St. Helens. Folks, this just happens to be the east dome of the volcano. East Dome, Mount St. Helens. Up at the top, you see tremors, and yes, we have 2 earthquakes near the very top of this seismogram. One is just at about 01:38 a.m. this morning. The other one is about 2:01 a.m. this morning. Both of those are 2.0 earthquakes. You see a lot of tremors here, don't you? Quite a few of them. You also see each of these lines, horizontal lines. Each of these lines represents a 15-minute time period. Okay? You see some lines that are thicker than others, right? That's what they call magma pulse activity, or pulsed magma activity. PULSED, magma activity. Some of the lines are thicker, then they get thinner, or they get thinner, or they're thin and get thicker. Pulsed magma activity, meaning more and more magma coming into the volcano at any individual time. You can see how some of the lines are thicker than others. That's what we're talking about. More and more magma coming into the volcano. And when that happens, we get tremors and earthquakes, because the magma coming into the volcano fractures the rock inside the volcano, causing tremors and or earthquakes. Any big huge piece of magma here, a lump of magma here that you see on the seismogram, a chunk of magma, if it has lines out of the top and the bottom of it, those are tremors. Those are tremors. The longer the lines, those are earthquakes. Okay? Now over here on the far right, okay, this is what they call a magma churn signal. It looks like a sideways rectangle. This dark blue sideways rectangle. This sideways rectangle occurred at, I want to say, about 8:27, 8:28 this morning. Okay? Let's look at this magma churn signal. Okay, I just enlarge this a little bit so you can see it. The magma churn signals usually are 23 to 28, excuse me, I'm sorry, not 28. They're usually 23 to 24 lines high. 23 to 24 lines high on the seismogram. This one happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This means this seismograph that recorded this was turned way down. Turned way down. This seismogram, folks, has been turned down to about 26 to 27% of real world. 26 to 27% of real world. Meaning they're again falsifying the data. They turn it down so the images on this seismogram do not look as large. Okay? So these 2.2 magnitude earthquakes up here, these may have been as large, and I'm sticking my neck out here, these earthquakes could have been as large as a 3.5 or larger earthquake. Okay? That's the poop. Now, what else is here to the right of this magma churn signal? these vertical lines here are steam. So this magma churn signal is not just showing us the heat of the magma, it's also showing us that this volcano is releasing steam from the volcano. Steam signatures. And down here, just to the next line and to the right, that's a longer magma churn signal, or not magma churn signal, I'm sorry, a magma steam signal. That's a steam signal, guys. That's a steam signature. A vertical line with a curlicue on it. That's typically what we see. And then further down here to the left, we have another vertical line with a curlicue. Steam signals, guys. Mount St. Helens is releasing steam. Look at what else the Mount St. Helens mountain is doing. Here's another steam signal this evening. Okay? Over on the left-hand side. We see tremors here. We see increased volcanic activity. Magma inside the volcano coming into the volcano, and folks, we have these vertical lines going through these large pieces of magma. The magma coming into the volcano under pressure is fracturing rock inside the volcano. That's what causes those vertical lines in the magma. Magma fracturing the rock inside the volcano, causing what they call volcanic uplift. Yes, the volcano rises. Over on the left-hand side again, towards the bottom, you see another good-sized seismic signal. That looks to be another 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. And it's probably a lot larger, considering that magma churn signal tells us that this seismograph has been turned way down. This could again be anywhere from a 3.5 to even a 4.0 earthquake. Okay? That's what's really going on here at Mount St. Helens. You can take it to the bank. Okay? Again, we try to show you this because they won't. They won't. I've been through this many times. Okay? That's Mount St. Helens. There's a volcano further south than Mount St. Helens. It's called Mount Hood. It's the northern part of Oregon. Mount Hood is very active. Like I said, just about a year and a half to 2 years ago, we had Mount Hood at a point where USGS thought it was going to erupt. Well, I'm going to show you a seismograph that's showing you a lot of magma coming into this volcano right here. Right here. This is the seismogram coming from the top of the mountain. Palmer Lift at Mount Hood. Palmer Lift at Mount Hood. Up at the top here, up on the left-hand side, you see that this seismograph started recording information at 10 p.m. yesterday, 10 p.m. last night. Well, folks, right off the bat, on the left-hand side, there's one line here that just happened to hit, excuse me, at approximately 23:45. That's 11:45 p.m. last night. You see that line that begins over on the left-hand side and goes towards the right? It starts off thicker than the rest of the line. That means there was magma in this volcano and it got less and less. It became less and less. Okay? Now, what else is going on? We know for a fact, since these lines are so thin, that this seismograph has been turned way down. Otherwise, these lines that you see here, these horizontal lines, would be thicker. There is magma coming into this volcano. You can see these signals here, these magma signals on each and every line here. These magma signals are magma coming into the volcano, and they're causing tremors here. Vertical lines going through these horizontal lines. Magma causing tremors inside the volcano. Tremors caused by rock fracturing. You can see that plainly here. Where you get a lot more magma, you get a lot more fracturing going on. Okay? Then here, after, I want to say, 11:15 this morning, what do you see here? Nothing. Not a thing. Just horizontal lines. Nothing going on in those horizontal lines for hours. They turned the seismograph off. They turned it so far down it's not recording a lambasted thing. Nothing. Then when they turn it on, guess what? They come up with this abstract. False data. False data. Now, while some seismologists might think, and they might say that there is fracking going on around Mount Hood, there is. Well, this may look like fracturing signals caused by fracking, pulling oil and or steam from this volcano or around the volcano. Yes, folks, this could be happening. There could be fracking going on here, but I doubt it. I doubt it. But what it does show, I believe, is a lot of magma. A lot of magma coming into this volcano. Okay? You can see magma coming in here, off and on. The lines get thicker and then the lines get thinner. Or they get thicker and they get thinner again. Okay? Magma pulse activity. Down there at the bottom, that may be just magma coming into this volcano. And they doctored the signal. That's what I personally think happened. They doctored the signal because we already know that they had turned it off. And when it came back on, it was a different kind of signal. Completely different. Now, one more thing at Mount Hood. I'm going to show you another, well, actually, I'm going to show you two more seismograms at Mount Hood. This seismogram comes from the seismograph at Tom, Dick, and Harry. Tom, Dick, and Harry is a lake near Mount Hood. It's part of the Mount Hood volcanic range around Mount Hood. Okay? As you can see at the top of this, a very active volcano. Look at that. A lot of magma coming into this volcano. And there's a lot of tremor activity happening. Okay? You can see it. Now, while the activity slows way down, yes, it does slow way down. This may also be a sign that the agency is purposely turning the signal down, which they may be doing, because it's hardly showing any activity compared to the activity that was above it. So the agency may have turned it down. But look here. Just before the data starts getting thicker again, meaning the lines get thicker, okay, the magma pulse activity, actually shows a lot more. What do we see over here on the left? It's another magma churn signal, guys. Another magma churn signal. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines high. So we know for a fact that this seismograph has been turned down to about 26% of real world. So it's not actually showing us exactly what is going on here at Mount Hood. It could, but it won't. They don't want us to see what is actually happening. Okay? We figured that out over the last few years. They don't want to see us to see what is actually going on. Mount Hood is getting ready to go. All of these volcanoes are getting ready for a possible eruption. Yes, it could happen that all of them would erupt, but that is highly unlikely. I don't believe that has happened even in the last several thousand years. I do not think any one of these volcanoes or all of them erupted at the same time. It is possible, but highly unlikely. Okay, that's Tom, Dick, and Harry. Let me show you another seismogram that's coming from the north side of Mount Hood. Okay, this is Yoakum Ridge. This is Yoakum Ridge. Look at this. Look at all this magma coming into this volcano starting last night about 10 p.m. and this magma was coming into the volcano long before this, but this is just what we see last night going into this morning on this seismogram. We see a lot of it. And we also see the magma coming in heavier, and we see these vertical lines going through these lumps of magma here. That is tremors. Those are tremors and earthquakes. Okay? The magma coming into this volcano is fracturing the rock, causing the earth to move. That's what's going on. Now, look what happens here. All of a sudden, all that activity all of a sudden went away. That doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen. Okay? Yes, we do see an occasional magma signal here. We see an occasional tremor here. That vertical line there. And several other little dots here. Okay? Little tremors caused by the magma. This seismograph was turned way down. Turned way down. It was turned up to where it should be. We would probably see the top of this seismogram be more full to show more activity of what is actually going on here at Mount Hood. Okay, let's go south. Folks, there's quite a few volcanoes south of Mount Hood. Now I'm going to show you a couple of them. Okay, why am I just showing you a couple of them? Because, folks, the agency does not want us to see what is going on. Okay, for example, Mount Bachelor, which is south of Mount Hood. That seismograph has been turned off for almost 2 years. When we first started reporting on the volcanoes and the earthquakes hitting Washington, Oregon, and California, there was a lot of data. Okay? A lot of data. These volcanoes do not shut themselves off. They just don't. And lately, as of the last 5, maybe even 6 or 7 years, the volcanoes have been recharging. a lot more magma coming into the magma chambers of these volcanoes. We know that. We've seen it. We've reported on it. But folks, guess what? They have shut off the recordings going on at Mount Bachelor. All we have is thin, very thin lines, from top to bottom, side to side. Very thin lines, meaning it's been shut off. It's not recording anything. Okay? The volcano just does not stop. It doesn't. Volcanoes, once they are going, don't stop. The magma doesn't stop coming into the volcano. This is Sisters Volcano. This is south of Mount Bachelor. Okay? Sisters Volcano is actually 3 volcanoes. Sisters North, Sisters Central, and Sisters South. One seismograph that is monitoring 3 volcanoes. Up at the top here, you see a little bit of activity here. Magma coming into the volcanic chamber. Okay, you see a few tremors here, but that's all. Then the rest of the time, for many, many hours, nothing happens. That's because they've turned the seismograph nearly off. I think a lot of this activity is making its way through the electronic turndowns. And when they do turn it up, they don't turn it up full blast. They're not showing real world, is what I'm saying. They're only showing what they want us to see. Yes, Sisters Volcano is very active. Down here at the bottom, you can see a lot of magma coming into this volcano. And that magma is causing fracturing of rock inside the volcano, causing tremors and earthquakes. You can see it here. If this seismograph had been turned up to where it should be, a lot of these lines would not be seen white. You would not be seeing the paper. Okay? It would be full of color rather than white. Okay? So you can see Sisters Volcano is very active. There's a lot going on. And this, folks, is enough data to say that Sisters Volcano is getting ready to erupt. This is what was going on when they first issued the alert, a yellow alert, cautionary alert from Sisters Volcano. This is exactly what we were seeing. And yet they're not issuing a yellow cautionary warning now. Okay? No, I don't think it's ready to erupt yet. It is steaming. It is steaming. All 3 volcanoes. Okay? Bachelor's steaming. Okay? The Wife Volcano is steaming. The Father Volcano is steaming. There's a lot of volcanoes up there around Sisters Volcano. It's not just one, it's many volcanoes. Okay? Many, many volcanoes. So let's continue going south. Okay? I'm not going to show you every volcano. I'm just not going to do it. They are not there. Okay? The data's not there because they hide it. And it's not just USGS, it's Pacific Northwest Seismic Network as well. Now, I'm going to show you another volcano right now. This is Crater Lake, down in south central Oregon. In south central Oregon, we have a volcano called Crater Lake. The lake at the top of the volcano is in the caldera of the volcano. Within the rim of the volcano, at the top, The water table is such that it's gathered water. Deep, deep water. This is a huge lake. A huge lake. And the rim of the volcano is holding in that water. Over on the northeast side of Crater Lake is a place called Fleetwood Cove. That's where we're getting this data from this seismograph, is at Fleetwood Cove on the northeast side of Crater Lake. Up here at the top, again, we see this recording of the seismograph starting off just after 10 p.m. last night. And you can see for many hours, this volcano is showing a lot of activity. A lot of magma infill going on. Magma coming into the volcano is called magma infill. You can see it. That all of a sudden, guys, all of it just goes away. It doesn't work like that. Okay? Then all of a sudden again, we see a little tiny bit of activity. The magma activity is being suppressed. Okay? You see the thinner lines becoming thicker. Again, magma pulse activity. Magma coming into the volcano. And it starts off thin, gets thicker, then it gets thinner again. That's what we're seeing here. Then we go a few more hours and we see the exact same thing happening again. More and more magma coming into the volcano, and this time it comes in for many hours again. Okay? You can see it here. Then again, the magma lines get thinner here. I believe that's from them turning the seismograph down, because on the other seismographs you can see the magma getting thicker here. Yet on this one, it's thinner. Now, at Crater Lake volcano, it's an alpine lake in the top of the volcano. There are 4 seismic stations at Crater Lake. 4 of them. There's Crater Lake Fleetwood Cove. There's Crater Lake Mount Scott. Mount Scott has been turned off. Mount Scott has been turned off. Why would they do that? Because they can. There's another one on the southwestern side, actually basically the south central side of Crater Lake. Okay? That particular seismograph is called Crater Lake Bunkhouse. Crater Lake Bunkhouse. There must be a bunkhouse there, and they have the seismograph in the bunkhouse. That seismogram is showing false data, completely off the wall data, and I won't even show it here. I've shown that kind of stuff to you before. They're not showing anything here. We're showing. But there's another seismograph that's at Crater Lake. It's over on the west side of Crater Lake. Over on the west side of Crater Lake, there's an island. And it's not really an island, folks. It's the summit of the Crater Lake volcano. It points up like a pyramid. Like a pyramid in the lake. It's a beautiful little island. A beautiful little island that's connected to the left side, the west side of Crater Lake. Okay? This is what we're seeing at Crater Lake, Wizard Island. That's what they call it, Wizard Island. Now, I'm going to show you this from the top to the bottom, just like I did with the others. The difference is this. The seismograph is left wide open. The elements have a great deal to do with what this seismograph shows. What the seismogram shows. If it's heavy rain pouring on to the wood of the protective cover around the seismograph, it's going to show up like little dots. Little dots. On this particular seismogram here at the top, this I believe is magma coming into the volcano. As I've stated before, they have altered the seismograph. They've turned them way, way down. So they're not showing us real data. That's what they've done here. And as you can see right here between the top of this seismogram and the bottom of it, they've turned the seismograph nearly off. Nearly off. At the bottom of this seismogram, guys, I want you to see this. This is what I feel is important about this whole seismogram here. Okay? Look at this. This is one of the first times that I have ever seen this seismogram showing this much data. Nearly completely covering the white paper. Nearly covering the white paper here. Okay? You're seeing it real. There is magma pouring in to Crater Lake. Regardless of what the United States Geological Survey or the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network would have you believe. There's a lot of magma coming into this volcano. And then, after that display of magma coming into the volcano, over here on the left center here, all of a sudden, folks, we have a couple earthquakes here. Look at the magma coming into the magma chamber here, causing an earthquake. Okay? Look at that magma coming in. That, folks, is at least a 2.2 magnitude quake. And the subsequent one to the right of that, that's at least a 2.0. The difference here is the thickness of the earthquake signature. Okay? The thickness has a lot to do with how that earthquake hit and what that earthquake was, how strong it was. Okay? This probably was at least a 3.0 magnitude quake. Why do I say that? Because after the first quake hit, you see a little bit of data coming out to the right before the second quake hit, just seconds later, probably about 15-20 seconds later. We see a secondary quake. Secondary quake. Okay? A secondary signal. Then after the second quake, we see an enlarged signal there as well going out to the right. A secondary quake. Okay? We have a primary wave and a secondary wave. That's what we're showing here. Then after a short time, that secondary wave goes away and we have what they call a body wave. And that's what we're seeing here. Down at the very bottom, you see a bunch of tremors. Excuse me. A bunch of tremors. Then over to the right center, we start seeing 2.0, 2.2, maybe even 2.3 earthquake. And then more tremors after that. Folks, this is the most activity that we have seen at Wizard Lake in a very long time. Yes, I monitor it. I may not show you Wizard Lake because most of the time the data is inaccurate. Because the elements, the seismograph is exposed to the elements. The rain, the snow, the sleet, the wind. The seismograph can become buffeted very quickly and easily. This, folks, appears to be reasonable here. For the first time in ages, I've shown you this seismogram. Okay? This is incredible data here. Okay? We've shown you Cleetwood Cove as often as we can. Sometimes they take that seismogram down too. They take Mount Scott, they take Cleetwood Cove, they take the bunkhouse down, and they've even taken this one down as well. But for the first time in a long, long time, this data appears to be accurate. That's why I showed you this. Okay? Now, normally on an evening like this, I would show you Mount Shasta and Lassen. Unfortunately, there is no data to show you. Literally nothing. Not a thing. Because they don't want us to see it. Plain and simple. They don't want us to see it. Sad. Sad. Now, there's a couple other things I want to show you tonight. Number one, folks, this is a list of earthquakes that have hit Oklahoma today. By far, this is not the only list. We've had about 10 earthquakes that have hit all over Oklahoma. Some of these earthquakes are faulted earthquakes, meaning they are representative of an earthquake fault. This one here near Prague, Oklahoma, that is not an earthquake fault. That is oil and gas. Pocasset, Oklahoma, oil and gas. Aaron Springs, I believe that 1.9 is a fault earthquake. This one, this 2.3 here, they just listed in Oklahoma, didn't list a location. I believe that is an oil and gas quake. And right before we came on the air, we had another 3 brand new quakes that hit. Oil and gas fracking operations in Oklahoma. There are 586,000 pumps and jacks all over Oklahoma. Now here, at the bottom of this list, this is Okarcha, Oklahoma. This 1.6 is a fracking quake, a fracking tremor. This one here in Aaron Springs, again, I believe this to be an earthquake, a regular tremor caused by a fault. But like I said, before I came on the air, there were 3 brand new earthquakes there in Oklahoma, and those are fracking quakes. Now, there's a couple other things that I want to show you tonight, but I'm not going to use my images here. I'm going to my device here to show you what we have to see. Because, frankly, the agency is not doing its job. Plain and simple, not doing its job. Right before I came on the air, there was an earthquake over here near Quebec, Canada. They took it down. It was a 1.7 tremor in Quebec, Canada. Okay? They have earthquakes and tremors up on the east side of Canada as well. Okay? Now here on the East Coast, they're not showing anything, right? That doesn't mean a thing. There are plenty of earthquakes on the East Coast, and tomorrow night I'm going to show you that. Plenty of earthquakes on the East Coast and on the New Madrid Fault there. That, folks, is the New Madrid Fault to the right of those 10 plus earthquakes in Oklahoma. Okay? Now, I am going to go over to Japan. Now, I could show you the USGS map of Japan. It does not show any earthquakes there. None. I checked. Over off the southwest coast of Hachio, Tokyo, we have a 4.3 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Tokyo, Japan today. Now, they've taken one other earthquake down. Okay? We had another earthquake over here on the eastern side, the western side of Japan. It was a 3.6. They took that one down. Further south, down in southern Japan, Ikeda, Ehime, Japan, we have a 3.2. Down off the southern coast of Japan, we have 3 other earthquakes. This is a 2.8 minor quake. This center one here is a 2.6. And this one to the east is another 3.3 magnitude earthquake. Okay? Now, why, oh why, did that happen? Folks, every one of these areas, every one of these earthquakes is linked to volcanism. You can see a crater there south of there. Each one of these islands was built by a volcano. Okay? Plus, folks, it's not just that. I want to show you this. There's also an earthquake fault there. There's volcanism near earthquake faults, and there's earthquake fault there in the southern islands. This is near, what's it called? Now I can't remember. There's a volcano down there in this same area here. Okay? In fact, it's right here. This island here, there's a volcano. Nice little volcano, and it's erupting on a regular basis. Okay? Northern Philippines. This is Luzon, Philippines. We have some 3s there. One to the north side and one over on the western side of Luzon Island. Okay? Then, just to show you what's going on. Indonesia, guys. Look at all the earthquakes in Indonesia. They're not showing us anything. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 earthquakes. 19 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 19 earthquakes here in Indonesia that they are not telling us about. That does not include 3 earthquakes in Myanmar. 3 earthquakes in Myanmar. Doesn't even go there. 1 earthquake in northern India, a 3.8. Okay? So there's that. Then, folks, I have told you what goes on in the South Pacific. Today in the Fiji region, northern Fiji, we have a 4.5 magnitude earthquake here. Just south of that quake was another 4.5 quake. Okay? Then we go down near New Zealand. Okay? We have a 3.45 in the islands north of New Zealand. Okay? The Kermadec Islands are unoccupied islands. The only thing occupying those islands are birds. And yet we're seeing earthquakes up in the Kermadec today. And then south, just north of the big island of New Zealand, we have all these earthquakes on those earthquake faults. That one earthquake fault on the right-hand side comes out of Tonga. The earthquake fault there that you see on the left comes out of Fiji, feeding seismic energy into New Zealand. Now, see these earthquakes? These are in the catcher's mitt. These are what they call in the catcher's mitt. This is the Bay of Plenty. The Bay of Plenty. Okay? We have some earthquakes here. This one's a 3.2. One to the west is a 2.26. Then this one here. This is closer to land. This one's a 2.46. Then over here to the east. This is out near Walhoo Bay, Bay of Plenty, New Zealand. This is a 2.2. This is near Gisborne, New Zealand. Okay? Then we go down to a supervolcano. A supervolcano. That, folks, is Topovolcano, the only supervolcano in New Zealand. We have an earthquake, don't we? This, folks, is a 2.69 magnitude earthquake at the supervolcano in New Zealand. That volcano is also getting ready to erupt. It's a supervolcano. Then, further south over on the western side, this is just east of another volcano. This is Taransky volcano, a 2.37. This, folks, right here is Taransky, New Zealand. That is a this is not a supervolcano, it's just a volcano. But this is not far from that volcano. Okay? Then we come down to the South Island. We have 5 earthquakes here. Okay? We have 2 on the northwest side here. We have 2 right on the fault line down here on the South Island. These 2 just to the northwest on the South Island, we have a 2.65 and a 2.99. Right here, Christchurch. Okay? A 2.47 at Christchurch today. South of there, also on that fault line, a 2.76. Then further south here, this is in South Park, New Zealand. South Park, New Zealand. This is a 2.70. Most of the earthquakes in New Zealand now are all 2s, no 3s. The only 3s are north of New Zealand. Okay? Just so you know, that's what's going on. Does USGS show any of this? Oh, heck no. They won't do it. They refuse. Rarely do we ever see anything there. And one more thing. Over in southwestern Australia today, here is a 2.30. Is USGS showing that quake? Oh, heck no. Heck no. They're not going to show anything there. Rarely do they ever do that. Okay? Rarely do they ever do it. Okay? We go up into China, or excuse me, not China, Tajikistan and Afghanistan. We have 2 4s up there in Tajikistan and Afghanistan. 2 4s there. I want to take you back to Turkey. Look at that. USGS is not showing anything there. There's 100 earthquakes in Turkey and Syria today. No, this was not a 7.8 earthquake that caused all that. This was a 9.0 to 10.0 magnitude earthquake in Turkey. I showed you the damage, and I also showed you the data to back what I'm saying up. We're still getting earthquakes there in Turkey, regardless of what the agency says. Okay? Regardless of what the agency says. Greece, folks, 20 plus earthquakes in Greece. Okay? Going north of Greece, this is Romania. This is a 2.65 earthquake in Romania. Lately, we've been getting a lot of earthquakes in Romania. Northern Europe is getting hit. I keep telling you about Italy. Look at all the earthquakes in Italy. From southern Italy to northern Italy. Look at that. All kinds of earthquakes. Is USGS showing it? No. Not one. Not one. France. We have a 1.6 and a 1.2 earthquake. I'm sorry, in Switzerland. This is Switzerland. 2 earthquakes in Switzerland today. 2 2s. Okay? Are they going to show that to you? No. Earthquakes in Portugal right there. We don't have any earthquakes whatsoever except in southern Spain. Here we have a 3.0 in southern Spain. No other earthquakes there. Portugal, those 2 earthquakes, a 1.6 and a 1.9. 1.6 and 1.9 there. Now, folks, that one in southern Spain was right at the Strait of Gibraltar. This was a 3.0 earthquake. Right at the Strait of Gibraltar. Over in the Azores, again, USGS not showing it. Over in the Azores, we have a 2.5, a 2.1, and another 2.0. 3 2s over there in the Azores. They're not showing that either, are they? Not one. Iceland. We have 3 earthquakes in Iceland. Are they showing them? No. Okay? Now these are just minor. 1.1, 1.0, and 1.8. 3 1s, just tremors over there in Iceland. Are they showing them? Not a 1. Not one. Okay? South America, guys. South America. There are some 25 earthquakes. 25 earthquakes in South America. Okay? They're not showing them, are they? No. Look at the earthquakes in Central America and southern Mexico. They're all there. They're all there. Look at southern Mexico. It's swarming. These are 3 and 4.0 magnitude earthquakes in southern Mexico, right there. Okay? Right there. That's what's really happening. That's what's really happening, guys. Southern Mexico. And we have another earthquake over here in the Gulf of California, in nearly the same place where we had that good-sized swarm of earthquakes last week. This is a 3.6 in the Gulf of California. Okay? In the Gulf of California. It's still going on. Down here on western Baja, we've got 10 3.0 earthquakes. Okay? Further north, The Salton Sea, guys, the Salton Sea. There's a 1.42. 1.42, it's on the San Andreas Fault. San Andreas Fault right in the southern part of the Salton Sea, where the San Andreas Fault goes underneath the Salton Sea. Over in the middle of the Salton Sea, this is different. This is a 2.01. This earthquake here was caused by the volcano. By the volcano. Okay? The Salton Butte volcano is alive and well. It's alive and well. Now, folks, what I've shown you is real. We haven't changed any names to protect anybody. I've shown you what is going on. I appreciate everyone here. Everyone that comes and watches this program. I want to make sure you have the latest data because your lives are important. If the agency is not going to show them, we will. That's a promise. Okay? The agency didn't even show you a third of the quakes. There's nearly 1,000 earthquakes. I think it's 967 earthquakes around the globe right now. USGS, a mere pittance. Anyway, does anybody have any questions for me? I'm happy to take any questions from you now. Okay? It's important. Wes White says the USPS could be an accomplice to the death of millions. I completely agree. Okay? Now, it's not if or when an earthquake hits. When a major earthquake hits, people will get killed. People will be injured. And for the United States Geological Survey not to publish what is going on is reprehensible. We have data here. We have data here that's showing earthquakes and tremors. Swarms of earthquakes will mean a large earthquake is coming. Guaranteed. And they're not showing it. Now, I did not show you the seismogram from Calipatria, California, on the south side of the Salton Sea. There's over 150 earthquakes there. Over 150 earthquakes in Imperial Valley today. Promise. Cross my heart. Okay? There's going to be a very much large earthquake that's going to hit Southern California soon. I fully expect one at the border area near Calexico and Mexicali. I further expect another earthquake to hit Los Angeles. There could be a major earthquake to hit San Diego. There's less of a chance in western San Diego County. But eastern San Diego County is an entirely different story. There's plenty of seismic energy available for something bigger to happen. San Francisco, you better get ready. And I'm talking right now to the city fathers. I'm talking right now to the emergency managers, and you all know who you are. San Francisco Bay Area, you need to be ready for a major earthquake. It's coming, and it's coming soon. You people that live around San Francisco, you should also be getting ready. Your city fathers aren't going to be able to do much to protect you. But you need to take action for yourselves and your families. That goes for everyone who lives in Los Angeles, San Diego, the Imperial Valley, and even over east towards Arizona. It's going to happen. I fully expect to have at least a large 5.0 soon to hit in Oklahoma. It's not just fracking operations causing these earthquakes. Today we have like 12 or 13 earthquakes in Oklahoma. Probably 2/3 of those are related to fracking. But if fracking operations are getting hit, that means seismic energy is there. And the faults could be activated towards a larger quake. I'm putting it out there so you guys can know it. You need to know it. Montana, Yellowstone area, you're getting hit. Southern Idaho, you're getting hit as well. Minor earthquakes, but you're getting hit. Challis, Idaho, you're getting hit. Challis, Idaho is the western border area of the Yellowstone magma chamber. And Yellowstone's getting hit. I think tomorrow I'll publish the blast zone for Yellowstone. Yes, I have that as well, that everybody ought to see. I published that before too. Now, I'm hopefully going to show you the seismograms from Southern California tomorrow, if, and that's a big if Caltech releases it data. I'm hoping they will. Now, given that, Wednesday, I'm going to devote Wednesday to emergency preparedness. Please, folks, bring your families. Bring your families, tell your friends and your relatives and everybody you know that Wednesday night after 6 p.m., and we will be on time at 6 p.m. Wednesday night, we're going to be talking about spiritual preparedness. Spiritual preparedness. This isn't just for people in the United States, it's for people around the world. Things are wrapping up to such an extent. Things are wrapping up to such an extent that things are going to get really bad very quick. And I want to talk about spiritual preparedness. I want to talk about our relationship with Jesus Christ. And I've got a couple guest speakers that may even be here in the chat room tonight. So guess what? We're going to have 2 other people here with me to talk about spiritual preparedness. So folks, get ready for that. Okay? I did a program on that about a year ago, and now I'm doing it again. One of our viewers told me last week that they wanted to come on the air and talk about spiritual preparedness. So I said, yes, let's do it. And someone else also wanted to join us. And so all 3 of us are going to come on the air and talk about it. And talk about what it really means to be spiritually prepared, and who Jesus Christ is, and why he is our Savior, our Lord, and our King. I did a program yesterday at noon talking about the life and the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. I know he is our Savior. I know that. But it goes a lot more than just knowing it. I know it. I want to help each and every one of you realize who Jesus Christ is in your own lives. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to get down to specifics of what some preachers have preached and the disservice they've done to the Christian community, because they have not completely told the real story. And we're going to talk about some of that Wednesday night. So be prepared for that. Folks, we are God's children. I know that for a fact. We truly are God's children. Now, folks, I found a song on YouTube that I want to play for you. It's called Tell Me the Stories of Jesus. I happen to love this song. When I was a little boy, my mother used to sing this to us, and she always claimed that she could not sing, but she could. In our children's group we had in the church that I belong to, it's called primary, from the age of 1 year old on up to 11 years old. They sung this song all the time. Now I'm going to play it for you. Tell me the stories of Jesus. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, that was a song called Tell Me the Stories of Jesus that I long to hear. I appreciate all of you tuning in to our program. Some of you probably didn't expect that. I found that. I didn't expect to find it, but I did. This is what we're going to talk about. May each of us be blessed. May each of us be blessed for being here on our program. May we all remember what is really important in our lives. I see my friend Brian Clark. He remembers his song too. Brian, it's good to see you. God bless you, my friend. We appreciate you. Brothers and sisters, I will say goodbye at this point in time. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. If anything else were to happen tonight, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, I hope you have a great night and a better tomorrow. We will be here tomorrow evening again with more information about disasters and emergencies and emergency preparedness. For Emergency Management Associates and all of you, thank you for being here. God bless you. We will see you at least tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.